Shubor nakaslem jong unongsan Hima.
Rangdajied United Football Club hakasantari unai lur haja arpusau. Kala soya kaswa sekolah jong ke Ïateh lok bat kawen ki club jong ke Indian Super League ke Benguluru Football Club bat ke jingtmu halendat jong ke ne ke long banwan ra ke Ïateh ke bajan habdeng kini ki artali ki club Khynnah bagi Khynnah Ïalehkai bat ki coach jong ke club ke nongba kinyo ke Kynsai pentebet ha ke Benguluru. Hakani ke sila dan lang uklor Ïalehkai barim ke jela bat ubalong presiden ke Rangdajied United Sports Development Society uba Eugenson Lingdo ringkat udaran Caldera ubade director of football jong ke Benguluru FC kumju coach aibor lang khongji ba karsing kurba ki khot jong ke club ki keme ki kpa lembat ki Khynnah Ïalehkai shenrang bat kenthei kani ke Ïateh lok kalong bagi Khynnah Ïalehkai ki badan hapo ke shlem ajing hikai jong ke Rangdajied United kinyo kalat ban lecha hikai pentebet badru banyo ya kalat ban Ïalehkai na ke BFC ha ke Karnataka League ha ke juga por ki coach jong ke Rangdajied kinyo ya ke Kynsai hikai ha ke Benguluru ya ki but ki bathamai Khynnah ban sandur ya kalawe jong ki Khynnah Ïalehkai shenrang bat kenthei ki badan ha kani ke jela watla kani ke Ïateh lok kalong ta na ke benta laisnam hendrei ke Benguluru ke don ni ke jingtmu ban yai beteng ke Ïateh lok bat ke Rangdajied Khynnah ban sei ki Khynnah Ïalehkai ki ba Kynsai ki badan hapo ke jela.
Thank you so much. Kumba kalong kajing temu takin kumba nia seng yang kani ke football school naru pasdam kedai kajing temu ke jongi. Wangi kwa ki kena jongi bakin mi nangi lapo kajela ke jongi bakin mi laka siapa. Wangi sutu mungi kum kajela ngimpak la bangin pidangi kena lesen orang habai dei bak kajing siu habai dei adong sedong. Temangi ru mata kum ka klub ru banang mangin temu ha kum na shapsna ngi nya kun aidir ngin palla nama financially ngin palla kumno ka baka ka jika jitu ko jungi kolong bang ki kana bla ki bit bling apa kum ka connection ka bangi ngi don matangi kene connection ngi ba PC din mata kata dawi kemudian kena blingin pendu se ya ka jingin joki ara ki don kata kasap ngin pendu lai tabala dan kum kene kalenti te kum bagi oh ki kau aku santai kin wan chini ke scout kena ki bit nang ni pa iki stay pa kena iki stay kindom kini train bat ki stay ki train stay coach ki bit ki biang nakalian jongi ni kroy man pa kena nimbat kini ki modal standar hari na buat ngi mangi apoi ID kala on ter ya kala on exchange program ba wala ni laka ID ni kam kena laki ki pa ni kam kena laki ni plastic ki pa kalau kata kalian kan makin tarik macam on the purpose of this collaboration. The objective, as I said earlier before, of why we started the Rangdajied football schools. Ivor and myself, I remember when we were playing for Ïateh, we realized the need for a proper structured football program in our state in order for us to see more children from our state playing at the highest level of football in India. So when we stopped playing, it was the best time for us to go on this venture. So we started the Rangdajied football schools 2 years before. I think it will be 2 years in September. 8 3 days from now. Now we started off with 60 kids with a single center there at Molai. But now we've grown over 2 years to an approximately of 700 kids over 5 centers, both boys and girls. So I feel that a milestone with regards to the amount of kids playing football and getting trained week in, week out has increased, which definitely was lacking in our state. Normally we train kids only when there's a tournament, but now it has changed where we train kids throughout the year. Forward into what we can provide for our kids. At the end of the day, when they train, obviously there are a lot of kids who aspire to become professional football players. So it was important for us to create a pathway. So, for example, we have a senior team where in the Durand Cup, there were 2 kids from our football school, 16 years of age, who represented our team in the Durand Cup. So, the added benefit of the senior team is to provide a platform for the kids to play at a higher level. See, where we've had a year-long discussion on how we can take football forward here in Meghalaya, how we can collaborate the 2 clubs and provide a pathway, like Andrew said, not only about the players, but the coaches as well, the technical staff of the team. So what we felt is, BFC, I feel, when we were talking about which club do we collaborate with, which club do we look up to, for me it was instant. Benguluru Football Club. I've been a player there, and I've seen the commitment of the club. The club is very structured, focused on youth. The best club, I would say, with regards to youth program. Tremendous amount of players coming out of their youth program. So we felt that it was important for us to tie up with a club that has a vision for football in India. And with regards to our coaching as well. So like Andrew said, our coaches, we do not have the capacity as yet. Like we have a shortage when it comes to qualified coaches in Meghalaya. For example, the knowledge that BFC has in the technical aspect can benefit us as a club, will benefit our coaches. So the gap between Meghalaya and the world probably can be negligible, because we get first-hand information on the different methods of training, the updated methods of training, or what needs to be done, not only through training, when it comes to strength conditioning, physiotherapy, sports science, and all that aspect. So the need for us to grow, the tie-up was essential. So now for a year or so, we have been excited about the journey towards this day. And today I can finally say that from within the team, we are very, very happy. We are very excited for the coming days ahead. And eventually, the future looks bright for the football-loving people of the state, and especially the talented football players of the state. Obviously, there's a greater pathway for them to achieve their dreams. Thank you.
Conversation has been in the works for close to a year. We've had multiple discussions, multiple Zoom calls as to how we can get this over the line and what's the right way forward. And for us also as a club, in terms of doing a partnership, we always want to make sure we're doing it with the right people. Eugene has played at the highest level. Ibor has played at the highest level, and sometimes when I look at these young boys, I want you guys also to aspire to get at that level, if not even better. Your dream, your aim should be that you have to be representing Rangdajied, and hopefully with the player pathway that we have, also wearing the BFC jersey and then representing the national team. If these boys can do it, so can you. And to the parents as well present here, I speak to a lot of parents, even in Bangalore. Every single time the question is my kid good enough? Will he make it? I think all you need to do as well from the parents' perspective is to support your kids. There are times, probably they're not playing enough games or they're upset, but give it time. It's a process. These things take time. Do not get frustrated at, the kids are sometimes 13, 14, 15, or even 17 and 18. All it takes is a good 6 months and you can see a completely different player after that. For us, it's very important to share that knowledge with RUFC, because we know also Rangdajied have the kind of same sort of vision and enthusiasm that we have at BFC as well. We have the infrastructure, but we also see that they've got what it takes in terms of the added motivation that's required. And while we always talk about player pathways, I think another aspect is coach development, which is very important for us as well, because your players will only be as good as the coaches can get them to be at that level. And I know in coaches like Ibor and the other staff that is also mentioned here, you're in good hands. And at BFC, we'll make sure we have multiple coach workshops. We have a head of youth who will be visiting as well, and hopefully we can do that session very soon. But rest assured, this partnership is a long-term one, where we want to see the kids grow, the coaches grow, and I want to thank Eugene, Andrew, Ibor, everybody present here, the entire team actually who've made sure this happens, and everybody sitting back home in Bangalore also as excited as you guys sitting here, and we make sure this is a very fruitful partnership. Thank you. Dubai the club is we have regular coach workshops. That's something we really want to do, whether they are online or in person. So we straight away want to have the coaches on board in terms of doing those sessions with the coaches. And when it comes to the players as well, we'll be having the head of youth visiting hopefully very soon. In that process, we'll also be sharing a sort of a coaching sort of program that we have, and we're kind of having it right now in BFC and all our other academies that we have all around. So that's to follow a certain training schedule and program which is aligned with probably what BFC is doing. And in that, while we do all of that, also we'll be having a scout visiting. That's another one that we want to do to make sure to see how the kids are faring, because for us it's important that how can we find that next bit of talent and take him to the next level. That's something we can do right away. These are a few key pillars which we look at right away. So if you're going by the agreement, of course it's a 3-year agreement, but it's one that of course we know Eugene from a long time, and this is something we're looking at long term. Yeah. A lot of ISL clubs and I-League clubs, but you never had BFC coming, so that's the difference. So we do it very differently versus other clubs. We are in it because we see the same sort of passion that we have as a club that comes also from the ownership, where our focus has always been youth. So just for everybody also sitting here, if you're not aware, we've got kids who've joined our program from 8 years of age all the way up to our first team. We've got a residential setup also at Bellary, which is a high performance center. We've got our under 13s, our 15s, our 17s that are based there. We've got our B team and our first team based in Bangalore. We've got 2 women's teams as well, and we've got day boarding academies, we've got an elite program, and we've got soccer school. So all in all, we've got more than 1,000 players who are part of the system. What we want to do is we want to find and nurture young talent. That's always how it's been. I don't know if you guys follow the Durand Cup very recently, and if you have watched any Benguluru FC games. There was one boy, a local boy from Bangalore, who made his debut for the first team this time around. He's 19 years of age, scored against Mountain Sporting, scored against Mohan Bagan. He was a boy who joined us at 8 years of age, back in 2013 when we started the football club. And he made his debut now 11 years later as a 19-year-old for the first team. So these are the kind of success stories that we have. Vinny's one of them. We've got many other boys who've been part of our system for the last 6 years. 5 years. There's a boy Fanai who's part of our first team. We've got a few other boys, Munirul, Mullah, everyone who's been 4, 5, 6 years part of the system. So for us, it's all about nurturing young talent, and of course, when you're reaching a certain level, then it's got to be, are you ready and good enough to, rub shoulders versus the big boys? But that's the platform that we have, and that's the kind of partnership we're looking at with RUFC. So for us, we know they're doing the right things, and I don't see why this partnership should be a long-term one.
We here in Shillong, in Meghalaya, most of the kids they are homesick only. They can't leave their parents. I remember my mom, I remember my dad, I remember my parents. So any kind of facilities like for parents. Suppose my kids is very talented, because my son is 12 and his cousin is 12. So both of them they are very good also. But is there any chance, any kind of facilities for the parents or for guardians to be with them if they are selected in future?
The residential setup, of course, we cannot allow parents to live with the kids. That's how a residential setup works. But we do have windows where we try and give small breaks for parents to come and meet the kids, or for a small break when the kids can travel back home and be with the parents. I'll give you a few examples also in world football, for example, and Ivor, Eugene will also back me up. A lot of international footballers, when they've left their home at a young age to go, to play football and pursue at a different, maybe a different country or a different city at a residential setup, initially it's always difficult. And it's the same with all our boys. The first 2-3 days we have a few boys crying. We have a tutor there, the academy director there, everybody there, tell them, listen, it'll be fine. The first 2-3 days they cry, after that they're having the time of their life. And I'm not saying it because you guys are sitting here, but they enjoy it because they're in a different space. They're surrounded by other footballers, they meet other athletes, they're interacting with a lot of people. We've got a lot of kids from the northeast as well. They meet kids from Bangalore, Kerala, Punjab, all over. So the initial days are difficult, and I'll be honest with you, it's more difficult for the parents. The kids are fine. I get calls from the parents saying, when can we go and meet our kids? So I always say, somewhere you will have to detach yourselves a bit, because the more you're with the kids, the more difficult it is for them. And this is their first step towards being a professional footballer. I can understand they're leaving you for the first time, but trust me, in the long run, you will be like, maybe it's good it happened.